Okay, so today we're really getting into it. We're going to explore this huge conversation with Naval Ravikant.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It covers like everything, happiness, success, just what it means to live a good life.
All the big questions.
We're basically giving you the cheat sheet. You get to skip ahead to all the really interesting stuff.
Absolutely. We went through and we pulled out all the most interesting and most thought-provoking parts of this whole discussion.
So like if you only have a little bit of time, but you want to get a handle on some of these like huge fundamental ideas, this is the place for you.
You got it.
All right, let's start with like the big one, happiness.
Okay.
So the conversation we looked at, it kind of lays out these two different paths, you know?
Mhm.
You can go the route of getting what you want, like achieving success, getting all this.
Material success, yeah.
Or you can go the opposite direction. Like you find happiness by like not wanting so much. Like, Socrates in the marketplace looking around all this stuff and being like, man, I don't need any of this.
That's a classic. The story of Diogenes, too, living in that barrel.
Yeah.
Like, what's the core tension there?
Right. So, like, what's the deal? Does happiness, like, come after you get all the success? Or can you, like, be happy first, and then that helps you get the success?
It's a chicken or the egg kind of thing. We always assume you got to get the success, get to a certain point, and then you can be happy.
Yeah, like you got to get to the top of the mountain.
But I think what's so interesting about this discussion is it kind of flips that a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
It suggests that maybe, starting from a place of happiness, like genuine happiness, can actually lead you to do even more, even bigger things.
Huh. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's like if you're already content, then you're not like chasing stuff just to feel better.
Exactly.
You're more, I don't know, driven by something else.
Right. And it becomes about something more internal, something more, aligned with who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And, practically speaking, so source material makes a point that a lot of people find it easier to actually pursue those material desires.
Like it's easier to get the stuff.
Yeah, like it's more tangible, know? There's like a clear path. You want a car, you work hard, you get the car.
Right, right.
Whereas renouncing desires, that takes a different kind of discipline.
So it's almost like with material stuff, you can kind of like win the game.
You can win the game.
Yeah.
But the idea isn't to keep playing forever.
Oh, I see. So you get to the point where you've like achieved it and then...
Then you can transcend it. You're not driven by that need anymore.
Okay. That's pretty deep.
It is. And it makes you think, right? Like, what are the games that you're playing right now?
Oh, wow.
And what would it look like to actually be free from them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Now, that kind of leads us to this other big topic, struggling. Like, how much do you have to struggle to actually grow?
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one.
Because the conversation acknowledges that, yeah, often you got to go through some discomfort, some short-term pain to get those long-term gains.
Right, right. The classic no pain, no gain. Like that marshmallow test. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, the marshmallow test. Where, like, if you can resist eating that marshmallow right now, you get, like, 2 later.
Yeah. So you got to be tough, right?
Well, yes and no. Because here's the thing. The source actually warns about becoming what they call a suffering addict.
A suffering addict. Like you actually like suffering.
Well, it's not that you enjoy it, but you start to think that if something is really hard, it must be worth it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you get kind of fixated on the struggle itself.
Exactly. You lose sight of the actual goal, the actual outcome.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can get so caught up in the fight that you forget what you were fighting for in the first place.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting. You talk to a lot of successful people. They look back on their lives, and one of the biggest regrets they have is that they didn't enjoy the journey more.
Like they were so busy climbing that mountain that they didn't notice the view.
Exactly. They were so focused on getting to the destination that they missed all the experiences along the way.
That's kind of sad.
It is. And, there's this thought experiment that they bring up in the conversation that I think is really powerful.
Ooh, I like thought experiments.
Imagine you could go back in time and talk to your past self, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But you can't change anything? You can't give them any new information?
Just like a conversation?
Yeah, just a conversation. But knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
That's a really interesting question.
And what's so striking is that a lot of people realize that, yeah, maybe they'd make some different choices about, big life decisions.
Right.
But the biggest thing is they would tell themselves to chill out.
Like to not worry so much.
Exactly. Like all that anxiety, all that internal friction, it was mostly unnecessary.
Wow. So basically, maybe we could all just like relax a little bit.
Maybe so. And maybe that would actually make us more effective in achieving what we want.
Yeah. And definitely happier in the process.
Absolutely. So, we talked about achieving those big goals, but then the question becomes, like, how satisfying are those wins, really?
Right.
Like,
Like you get there, you get the thing, but then what?
you get that initial high, that sense of accomplishment, but then it fades. And then you're looking for the next thing.
It's like a treadmill.
Exactly. And this cycle, wanting something, working for it, getting it, and then wanting something else, it shows that happiness that's based only on external achievements, it doesn't last.
So it's not really about the stuff.
It's not just about the stuff. Now, of course, the conversation doesn't say that money isn't important.
Right. It does help with some things.
It definitely solves those money problems.
Yeah.
And if you build wealth through your own hard work, that can give you a sense of pride, a sense of confidence.
But it's not the whole story.
Right. And that's why the Source really emphasizes the journey. Because most of your life, you're not at the destination. You're on the path.
So it's about how you experience that path.
It's about how you experience each day. Are you enjoying it? Are you engaged? Are you learning?
That makes a lot of sense.
And, to make that journey even better, the conversation suggests that you should be really conscious about your desires.
Like, be careful about what you wish for.
Not just careful, but selective. If you're more intentional about what you truly want, you'll be less dissatisfied overall.
And more focused.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about fame.
Okay, fame.
Yeah. So the Source makes this really clear distinction between, like, empty fame and real recognition.
Right, like being famous just for being famous versus being recognized for actually doing something valuable.
Yeah, like, some reality TV star versus, like, a scientist who cures a disease.
Exactly. And what's particularly tricky these days with the internet and everything is how do you navigate public perception?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's like everyone's watching all the time.
And so if you change your mind about something or you admit you were wrong, it can be so easy for people to jump on you.
Like, oh, you're a hypocrite.
Right, exactly. Even though, like, learning and changing your mind, that's how you grow as a person.
That's how you get smarter.
Exactly. But the Source, it emphasizes this key difference. It's about your intention.
Oh, interesting.
Like, making an honest mistake while you're trying to figure something out, that's one thing.
Right, right.
But deliberately saying stuff you don't believe just to be popular, that's something else entirely.
Like, that's just being fake.
Exactly. And what's interesting is the Source suggests that people are getting better at spotting that fakeness.
Really?
Yeah, like our BS detectors are getting more and more sensitive.
So basically just be real.
Be real, be authentic, it matters more than ever.
I like that. And on a similar note, they talk about the dangers of lying.
Oh, right.
Like if you're constantly lying to other people, you end up lying to yourself.
You lose touch with who you really are.
And that can't be good.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole question of like, whose opinion really matters?
Oh, right, right.
And the focus shifts from trying to please everybody to like valuing the respect of a few people whose judgment you really trust.
Like your inner circle.
Exactly. Like if those people respect you, that's what really counts.
Makes sense. Okay, let's move on to another interesting contrast they bring up. Status games versus wealth creation.
Okay, status games.
So they make this clear distinction between the two.
Right. Status, it's all about competition,
Mm.
It's limited. There's only so much to go around.
Like if someone else wins, you lose.
Exactly. But wealth creation, it can be this positive sum game.
Positive sum. What's that mean?
It means that multiple people can win.
Yeah.
Like the pie can get bigger.
Oh, I see. So instead of fighting over scraps, you're actually making more pie.
Exactly. And the conversation points out that, social media with all the likes and followers and everything, it can really fuel those status games.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like a constant competition.
But then they offer this interesting perspective. They say that what might matter more than your current position is your trajectory.
Trajectory.
Like the direction you're heading. Are you improving? Are you growing?
Oh, I see. So even if you're not at the top right now, if you're moving in the right direction, that's still a win.
Exactly. And that can be really motivating.
That's cool.
And this ties into our, human nature. We're wired to avoid loss.
Like, we don't want to lose what we already have.
Right. And sometimes that fear of losing can be even stronger than the desire to gain something new.
Interesting.
It is. Okay, so let's talk about another big one. Self-esteem.
Okay, self-esteem.
So the Source makes this really strong argument that low self-esteem can hold you back in life.
Like you won't achieve as much.
Not just that, it's like if you don't value yourself, how can you expect anyone else to?
It's like you're setting the bar for how people treat you.
Exactly.
Mm.
And what they say is that self-esteem is really about the reputation you have with yourself.
With yourself.
Yeah. It's about living up to your own standards, your own values.
Like if you say you're going to do something, do you actually do it?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when it's hard, when it's challenging. That's when you really build that self-respect.
So how do you, actually improve your self-esteem?
Well, they suggest something that might seem counterintuitive.
Oh,
Doing things for others.
really?
Yeah. When you focus on helping others, you actually end up feeling better about yourself.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
It is. But they make this distinction. It has to be genuine.
What do you mean?
Like, it's not about trading something you don't care about for something you do.
Oh, I see. Like giving away your old clothes that you never wear anyway.
Right. That's not the same as, like, giving your time, your energy, something that actually costs you something.
So it's about real sacrifice.
It's about real sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that's what builds integrity.
Integrity.
And the source makes this interesting point that, like, even from a purely selfish perspective, being a good person is beneficial.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you live in a society where people trust each other, everyone benefits.
Right. Like you don't have to worry about getting cheated or ripped off.
Exactly. And they use this analogy of the stag hunt.
The stag hunt. What's that?
It's this idea that, like, if a group of people cooperate, they can hunt a stag, which provides a lot of food for everyone.
Okay.
But if one person decides to go off and hunt a rabbit on their own, they get a smaller meal, and the group might fail to catch the stag.
So everyone's worse off.
Exactly.
Okay.
So being trustworthy, acting with integrity, it's not just about being nice. It's about creating a better environment for everyone, including yourself.
I like that. So basically, good guys finish first.
In the long run, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about self-doubt now.
Okay, self-doubt.
So they talk about how there are actually two types of self-doubt.
Two types.
Yeah. One is like when you realize you don't know something, like, oh, I need to learn more about this. And
Right.
that's actually a good thing. It means you're aware of your limitations.
It's a sign that you're willing to learn and grow.
Exactly. But then there's the other kind of self-doubt.
Which is,
It's when you doubt your own worth. Like you don't believe in yourself fundamentally.
oh, that's a deeper issue.
Yeah. And they talk about how unconditional love, especially when you're a kid, is really important for building that core self-confidence.
Like knowing that you're loved no matter what.
Right. That gives you a solid foundation to build on.
But even if you didn't have that perfect childhood, the source says that you still need self-belief to succeed.
To face challenges, to trust your judgment.
Exactly. And they talk about this concept of implicit knowledge.
Implicit knowledge.
Like all the stuff you know that you can't really explain.
Like how to ride a bike.
Exactly. You just know how to do it.
Yeah.
And they say that we have way more of that implicit knowledge than we realize.
Interesting.
And that plays a big role in our intuition, like those gut feelings we get.
So if you're struggling with self-esteem, what can you do?
They offer this idea of earning your own self-respect.
Earning it.
Yeah. Like treating yourself with the same kindness and consideration that you would give to someone you respect.
Oh, I see. It's like the golden rule, but for yourself.
Exactly. And they talk about love, too. And they say that the feeling of giving love can actually be more empowering than receiving it.
Really?
Yeah. It's like when you love someone, you're putting yourself out there, you're being vulnerable.
And that takes courage.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about something that can really get in the way of growth. Pride.
Pride.
Yeah. The source, it identifies pride as a major enemy of learning.
Like being too proud to admit you're wrong.
Exactly. And if you can't admit you're wrong, you can't learn from your mistakes.
Right. You get stuck.
Like think about those people who hold on to a losing investment way too long.
Or stay in a job they hate.
Because they don't want to admit they made a bad decision.
Right. Their pride gets in the way.
And the source contrasts that with like really successful artists and entrepreneurs.
Who are able to let go of past successes and start fresh.
They're not afraid to be beginners again.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle.
I like that.
And, they talk about happiness too. And they basically say that being unhappy is not a virtue.
Like suffering in silence.
Right. They suggest that happiness is actually a choice.
A choice.
Like how you choose to see the world, what you choose to focus on.
That's interesting.
And they say that, contrary to what a lot of people think, happiness doesn't have to make you less ambitious.
In fact, they argue that a happier you is more likely to do great things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because when you're happy, you're more likely to do things that you're good at, things that you're passionate about.
That makes sense.
And they even go so far as to say that maybe we have it all backwards.
What do you mean?
Like, we think we have to be successful first and then we'll be happy.
Right.
But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe if we focus on being happy now, that will actually lead to more success. Huh. That's a pretty radical idea.
It is.
Okay, so let's talk about something a little controversial. Selfishness.
Selfishness.
Yeah, but they frame it as holistic selfishness.
Holistic selfishness.
And basically, it's about putting yourself first,
Ooh.
but in a way that's not harmful to others.
Okay. So it's not like being a jerk.
Right. It's about recognizing that you have needs and that it's okay to prioritize those needs.
I mean, that makes sense. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. And they encourage you to be really ruthless about your time and energy.
Like say no to things you don't want to do.
Exactly. And they share this anecdote about deleting their calendar.
Deleting their calendar. That's like the opposite of being productive.
Well, for them, it was about embracing spontaneity.
Like doing what felt right in the moment.
Exactly. And the key takeaway is that efficiency, productivity, success, happiness, freedom, they're not all separate things.
They can all work together.
They can all work together.
I like that.
Okay, now let's talk about something that might seem contradictory.
Okay.
On the one hand, the source talks about the power of wanting less.
Like the less stuff you want, the happier you'll be.
Right. But then they also talk about the importance of focus, of being able to really concentrate on something.
So which is it? Do you want less or do you focus on what you want?
Well, they kind of reconcile those two ideas. They say that the ideal is to find something that feels like play to you.
Well, like something you enjoy doing so much that it doesn't feel like work?
Exactly. But to the outside world, it looks like you're working really hard.
Oh, I see. So you're getting stuff done, but you're also enjoying the process.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
And they introduce this idea of productizing yourself.
Productizing yourself, what's that?
It's about identifying your unique talents and figuring out how to scale them.
Like turning your skills into something that can benefit a lot of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they point out that we live in a time where that's more possible than ever.
Because of the internet and everything?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with so many options, it can be easy to get overwhelmed.
Right, like analysis paralysis.
Exactly. So they advise against committing to something too early.
Like don't jump into the first thing that comes along.
Right. Be willing to say no. And in fact, they say that your default response to new opportunities should be no.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Unless it's something that's like a clear yes, just say no.
That's interesting.
And they offer some tips for saying no effectively, like ask yourself, if I wouldn't ask someone else to do this, why am I doing it?
Oh, that's a good one.
And they also talk about the importance of managing your emotional reactions.
Like not letting your feelings control your decisions.
Right. And they suggest things like mindfulness, journaling, even just taking walks.
Like getting some space from your thoughts.
Exactly.
Like,
because they point out that a lot of the problems we face, they're not actually real problems.
they're just in our heads.
Exactly. And once you realize that, you can choose which problems to actually engage with.
And which ones to just let go of.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. And they caution against becoming addicted to problem solving.
Like some people just love to fix things.
Right. But sometimes it's better to just let things be.
And they also talk about the dangers of like the news and social media.
Oh, yeah, the mimetic viruses.
Mimetic viruses.
It's like when you get caught up in all the drama and negativity that's out there.
Oh, right. Like all the outrage and stuff.
Exactly. And they say that it's important to get your own life in order before you try to fix the world.
Like put your own oxygen mask on first.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about success. How do they define success?
Well, they talk about this idea of true intelligence.
True intelligence.
Yeah. And they say that true intelligence is about getting what you want out of life.
Which means not just knowing how to achieve it, but also wanting the right things.
Exactly. And they talk about the danger of what they call mimetic desire.
Mimetic desire.
It's like when you want something just because other people want it.
Oh, right. Like keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly. And they say that it's really important to make conscious choices about your life.
Especially big decisions like your career, your relationships, where you live.
Right. Because otherwise, you might end up living a life that you don't actually want.
And they encourage people to be willing to change course.
To pivot, to experiment.
To iterate.
Exactly. And they emphasize that it's not just about repeating the same thing over and over.
It's about learning from each iteration and getting better.
Right. like 10,000 iterations to mastery.
I like that.
And one more piece of advice.
Yeah.
Don't partner with cynics.
Cynics.
People who are always negative, always pessimistic.
Yeah. Those people can be a real drag.
They can.
So what about cynicism and pessimism? How do
Right.
they deal with those?
Well, they acknowledge that those tendencies are kind of built into us.
Like from an evolutionary perspective.
Right. Because back in the day, if you weren't a little bit pessimistic, you might not survive.
Right. You had to be on the lookout for danger.
But these days, the source argues that a different mindset is more helpful.
Like being more optimistic?
In general, yes.
Hmm.
But also being skeptical of specific opportunities.
Oh, I see. So not just blindly believing everything.
Right. And they say that you should look at failures as learning experiences.
Not as, like, the end of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also say that you should avoid labeling yourself.
Like, oh, I'm a pessimist or I'm an optimist.
Right. Because those labels can become self-fulfilling prophecies.
That's true.
And they emphasize the importance of being adaptable.
Like being able to change with the times.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about something a little more fun. Surprises.
Surprises.
Yeah, so they talk about how if you try to control every aspect of your life, you actually miss out on surprises.
Like you're so focused on your plan
Yeah,
that you don't leave any room for the unexpected.
exactly. And they say that surprises are actually really important for a fulfilling life.
Like that sense of wonder and discovery.
Right, so it's about finding a balance between planning and spontaneity.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about unhappiness? Where does that come from?
Well, they say that a lot of unhappiness comes from thinking too much about yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Like obsessing over your personality, your problems, your ego.
Oh, right, like getting stuck in your own head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they contrast that with problem-solving reflection.
Like when you're actually trying to figure something out.
Right. That can be helpful.
Yeah.
But if you're just dwelling on the same negative thoughts over and over, that's not going to help you.
And they talk about the ego.
The ego.
Yeah. They describe it as this, like, monster that's always hungry for attention.
Oh, wow.
And they say that the way to deal with it is through detachment.
Detachment. Like not caring about anything.
Not exactly. It's more about understanding what really matters.
Oh, I see. Like focusing on things that are bigger than yourself.
Exactly. Like your family, your community, your work, your purpose.
That makes sense.
Okay, so let's talk about overthinking.
Overthinking.
Yeah. They caution against getting trapped in your own thoughts.
Like going over the same thing again and again.
Right. And they even compare it to Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Like when a hostage starts to sympathize with their captors.
Oh, wow.
So it's like you're a hostage to your own thoughts.
That's a powerful image.
And they talk about therapy. And they say that therapy can be helpful, but only if it's actually helping you solve problems.
Not just making you feel worse.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about happiness techniques.
Happiness techniques.
Like all those things people do to try to be happier.
Oh, right. Like meditation, gratitude journals, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And they talk about how they used to do a lot of that stuff.
But then they stopped.
Yeah. Because they realized that the pursuit of happiness can actually make you unhappy.
Oh.
Like if you're constantly trying to be happier, it means you're not happy now.
Right. You're always focused on what you're lacking.
Exactly. And they say that the path to happiness is different for everyone.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right. And they caution against blindly following the advice of successful people.
Like, just because someone is successful doesn't mean they know how to be happy.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about sleep.
Sleep.
They share a story about how they used to have really inconsistent sleep patterns.
Like sometimes they'd sleep a lot, sometimes they'd sleep very little.
Right. And they say that they never really worried about it too much.
Like they didn't try to force themselves to sleep a certain number of hours.
And they eventually found a pattern that worked for them.
Right. And they say that a lot of behavioral change happens when you really understand something.
Not when you just try to force yourself to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about anxiety and stress.
Okay.
They define stress as coming from conflicting desires.
Like when you want two things that are incompatible.
Right. And they say that just acknowledging those conflicting desires can actually reduce stress.
Just admitting to yourself, yeah, I want both of these things, and that's creating tension.
Exactly.
And then they talk about anxiety.
And they say that anxiety is basically stress that you haven't identified yet.
Like it's this vague feeling of unease that comes from all these unresolved issues.
And they emphasize that our minds are really good at creating problems.
Like we can worry about things that haven't even happened yet.
And they reiterate the importance of observing your thoughts and choosing which problems to engage with.
And they say that true peace of mind comes from within.
It's not about your external circumstances.
Right. And they suggest that our minds can actually be a source of suffering.
Like, if we let our thoughts run wild,